Season for those educators out there are enjoying some much needed time off. On behalf of the TBA Board of Directors, TBA Executive Director Mike Rcihard, and the TBA staff, I welcome you to this special induction ceremony of the Texas Bandmasters Hall of Fame, sponsored by the Alpha Chapter of Phi Beta Mu. It is a pleasure to be with you today and an honor as we honor one of our finest educators, Mr. Scott Mason. To continue the introduction, please welcome Alpha Chapter President, Cindy Lansford.
Thank you, President Moore. Texas Bandmasters Association and Phi Beta Mu have worked in conjunction on the Hall of Fame ceremony for many years, and we appreciate all that TBA does for the profession and to support this endeavor. Phi Beta Mu is in its 77th year, and since its inception, the fraternity has worked diligently to provide various awards and services to fellow music educators. The Texas Bandmasters Hall of Fame is presented, supported, and sponsored each year at the annual TBA convention. Today, Mr. Mason will join the class of 2016. In this morning's ceremony, this individual will be recognized for his outstanding contribution to young people of Texas and to our profession. Colonel Earl D. Irons, the founder of Phi Beta Mu, envisioned an organization that would honor outstanding band directors whose dedication and devotion to their profession was paramount. This morning, as Mr. Mason is inducted, I encourage you to reflect on the traits that brought him here. Traits such as dedication, master teaching, mentoring of others, leadership, honesty, integrity, caring, self-sacrifice, persistence, and total devotion to his profession. Mr. Mason is an icon in what we band directors aspire to be and has earned the respect and admiration of his colleagues through his years of success. We are grateful to him for his work in establishing the bands in Texas as among the finest anywhere. In the band profession, when someone asks, who made a difference in how you do what you do, Mr. Mason inevitably comes to mind. In this room, when someone asks, who made a difference in the education of your child, or which teacher had the biggest impact on your life, well, I'm pretty sure that we know the answer to that question. On behalf of Alpha Chapter, let me say to you, Mr. Mason, thank you for the tremendous impact you have had on countless students over the years and for the leadership you have provided to us all. To family members, students, friends, and colleagues, thank you for being here today to share in this recognition and celebration. Thank you to the members of the Hall of Fame Committee for making this ceremony possible today. Let us begin the ceremony with a few personal remarks from two of Scott's colleagues and close friends, Mrs. Sally Bohls and Mr. Joey Ashbrook. Mrs. Bohls?
Welcome, and thank you so much for being here. You can imagine how special this is to everyone, especially Mr. Mason and his family. We're going to say some things now that we're going to spill the dirt just a little bit. Most of you know some of this stuff, but along with being an incredible educator, a motivator, and an icon in the community, comes other things. You learn so many things through the study of music. Proven fact. And every year that goes by, more things are discovered that, oh, guess what? You also learn this. Your body develops this. Your brain develops this. Mr. Mason has been, of course, an icon in the field and one of the strongest teachers for the development of band and music education. Sally Bohls and I are going to talk a few things that have happened that made him great, that made you great, and has made this to be one of the finest programs in the United States. It is definitely a program that started from, 140 people, and they were not very good. Bad, they were bad. 92 students, and that was in 1990, 1991, we're around that area. And it grew not only massively in size and quality, it grew quickly. Because people understand, they complain about discipline, they complain about structure, kids and parents, but what flocks to the discipline? Who flocks to the discipline? Students do, number one, and they thrive in instruction. This is part of the problem that we have in a lot of schools, but not here. Structure and discipline was not a problem. Well, that's a positive thing. Not only being a good teacher, an incredible educator, he was a great colleague, mentor, and friend, and also a family member to most of us.
Thank you so much for coming out this afternoon. We really appreciate everybody letting us throw this together like we did. But I met Scott on a little bit different plane, I think, than a lot of people did, because I actually met him as a friend first. And when I got a phone call from him 25 years ago, or however long ago that was, and I didn't know Scott at that point, and he said, the phone call said, "Hello, my name is Scott Mason. You don't know me. I'm finishing my first year at Coppell High School, and we're trying to build a program here." And he said, there was one word actually that got me to come here. He said, "I'll do anything you ask if you will come teach with me." So many educators want you to teach for them. And had he said that, I would have said, "It's really nice to meet you, but I can give you some names for you to call, but I really don't have time in my schedule." But by the fact that he asked me as a private teacher to come teach with him, this is a job in the door. We also did a clinic maybe a couple of years later on setting up a private lesson program, which was the blueprint in his head, really, on setting up private lessons. And it was brilliant because he tried to hire experience, which most people were not doing at that point in time. Private teachers were kind of, and also ran kind of a asterisk at the end of the page sort of thing. And he made them fully a part of the program, which was totally an innovative sort of concept here in the state of Texas. And so he got me in the door by one word, with. And I think most of y'all would kind of say the same thing about him. He didn't ask you to do things for him, he asked you to do things with him.
Just a few little stories, anecdotes from time to time. Mr. Mason would have sayings that he would like to give to us. Little pearls of wisdom. And one of them was, "I'm always casting my pearls before swine." And I said, "Yes, you are. But we're going to understand it one of these days." Things always didn't go as smoothly as planned. And back when the program was growing exponentially, and there were still just 2 directors here, and we were trying to do everything, I was doing color guard then. I didn't know what the heck a flag or rifle was. You throw it up and you hope you catch it. That's all right. But one of the things that happened one day, we had a particularly intense marching rehearsal in the field, and we both got frustrated, and we came back in and were yelling and screaming, and that was back in the old band hall, and I walked up, slammed the door, and the glass. And he looked at me, and we bickered back and forth a little bit longer, and then within a minute, he says, "Okay, what's for lunch? Where are we going?" And so we get the call and we go to lunch. That is part of our relationship, and I know many of yours as well, with the parents and students. You could have some controversy, you could have some things you didn't totally agree on, but within minutes you could get it worked out and move right along.
Speaking of such things as color guard, when we first started long ago, it was Mr. Mason and Mr. Ashbrook and myself and Marty Nelson, if Marty is here. But we kind of didn't know what we were doing. It was kind of like the blind leading blind with no flashlight. And one of the things Mr. Mason had asked Joey to do was color guard. And so on the way home one day, I get this frantic call from Joey saying, "Could you come by stop by the band room? I need you to stop by the band room, stop by real quick." And so I U-turn to come back to the band room. I walked in, and Joey's standing there with the flag. Scott's kind of off to the side, and Joey's standing there with the flag, and I come running in, and he says, "Oh, good." He said, he threw the flag up, and he said, "Does that look good?" And I thought, I turned around on the highway to come back with the 2 of y'all, and you want to know if the flag looks good going up in there? It's fine.
Another thing that Scott told me when we were still new in our teaching, I taught with him in Crain in West Texas, and yes, all our Crain people over here, thank you for being here. Absolutely. That was an incredible group of young people also. The private lesson staff was immense. Mr. Mason, Mr. Lots Beach, and myself. That was it. those kids worked and they worked and they worked, and they were one of the best bands in the state at that time as well. But one of the first things he said to me was, "You need to get better shoes." And I said, "Well, pay me more." No, it's just really. He said, "You need to get better shoes. Your shoes have to look a little more classy." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because your voice is deep, you're a little aggressive, and you intimidate people." And I thought, okay, interpretation in the Scott terms, you're an ass. We have several of these interpretive things. He said, "You need to relax and settle down," so I'm still working on that.
We laughed when you told Scott that we were going to spill some dirt when we got up here. The only reason we can do that, of course, is because we are the dirt. But we have been through ups and downs. We have been through good and bad. We have been through tears and smiles and laughter and cry. Many different, we show different faces to the public. Fortunately, like I said, I actually met Scott as a friend, not particularly an educator first, which gave me a little bit of an advantage into the man, I think. But over the years, I have to say, we all have a small inner circle of friends that we trust with anything, all right? And my inner circle consists of these two guys standing up here a lot. And if I had called Scott at 3 in the morning and he saw my name on the speed dial, he would be calling me on the way out the door saying, "What have you done now?"
Another one of his little terms that he would use to students, student leaders, parents, administrators, I've heard from time to time. "You may want to consider doing this." You may want to consider. Right. That means you better drop everything you're doing right now, and you better do it this way right now. So, again, in the Scott Mason Dictionary terms, "you may want to consider" really means, "You idiot, why are you doing that?" And then onto a little more professional note here, just some things about Mr. Mason. When I came out of college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a band director, but I wasn't sure. I started in a really, really not good situation in Colorado City, Texas. It was not a supportive situation, and I started in December. By February, I had turned in my resignation. That's how bad it was. I didn't know what I was going to do. Mr. Mason called. We went to the same university, Stephen Foster, next to Jack's. Okay. Mr. Mason called and says, "I'm going to have an opening. Are you interested?" And I thought, "What? Am I interested? I'll sweep the floor. Yes, I'm interested." So I went to Crain. I learned, well, that was really my first full year of teaching, and it was a year of teaching. Everything from the only housing in Crain at that time was an old broken down trailer mobile home with a hole in the ceiling and a evaporative cooler on the other end, and it sat like this. So when my mother came to visit, Mr. Mason was trying to calm my mother down. He said, "Hey, all your chairs are reclining in this house. Everything's good. You got beauty stars at night. I'm watching mosquitoes and birds are flying around in there." But that's really what we started from, and I learned so much from this man at that beginning point. You learn things in college. You learn the textbook. You learn, curriculum. You don't learn how to teach. You don't know how to react. You don't know how to enact. You don't know how to do things with students and parents that will enable them to be the very best that they can be. He is the reason I'm still in field music. I can't read. Sorry, I didn't read my Bible. We are all blessed with many successes that the students and we have all encountered. His wisdom in the support and teaching has made me who I am today. I'm sorry, I have to place the blame on somebody. I owe everything to him in education, not only in career activities, but in personal life as well. Positive influence on students, communities, moral values, outstanding leadership for all youth groups. His love of music and students has certainly ingrained upon me the importance of the field of education and the responsibility we all have as teachers to do our very best at all times, regardless of the circumstances. He still strongly believes in the never, 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 ever, never, ever, never give up philosophy. And I'm sure it's written somewhere in the band hall. How to be a human being, how to overcome obstacles and pitfalls of life, and how to be the best influence as possible on everyone around him. His determination, drive, and hard work ethic is second to none. And these attributes, along with the self-discipline, goal setting, and a positive moral focus are probably the most important and strongly ingrained lessons he has passed down to tens of thousands of students. So many owe so much to Mr. Mason, adult students and entire communities and families. His personal sacrifices have been great over the many years and continue to take center stage. He devotes 100% of effort into them at all times. In all the years I have had the honor to learn and to teach Scott, and with all the competitions and successes his groups have enjoyed, I have yet to hear him say one word about we have to win this contest. Ever. Usually it's, do your very best. Do your very best. And that's all you can ask from anybody. Do your very best and be proud of what you did. The field of education and the study of music are both greatly indebted to this man. I cannot think of a better or more deserving candidate for this nomination and induction to this honor society, and I want to congratulate Mr. Scott Mason. John, I thought I was also going to make the Raymond children. Here. All the Crain people, please stand. Oh, wait a minute. I see the Dolmans looking at my hands We also want to thank, of course, Mr. Mike Hasso, City Lansford, and John Jacks actually had started the beginnings of all of this, turning in nomination forms and recommendations. So thank you to everyone who's made this possible. Come on.
This is amazing to me. The first thing I realized something was up was when Mr. Ashbrook showed up at my house dressed like this on a Monday morning. I knew something was up. I just had no idea it was something like this. I want to tell the committee how appreciative I am of their support of me and their belief in myself, my students, my parents, and what we've done. I won't talk very long because I did not have a long time to prepare my notes. But it's been quite an adventure. I remember in Crain, let's see, having 42 students go to the hospital one night after a football game. And I had my own police car. I didn't drive it, he just took me back to the hospital, back to the game, back to the hospital. I was like, this is unreal. It's supposed to be food poisoning, but there were some very, very talented students in Crain, very talented, very hardworking. So I still say music is universal. It doesn't matter where you are, the social economic level. It matters how much you want to put into it. I hate to point one person out, but Leslie Harmon, I think, is here. Leslie, if you'd stand. Take your cap off. He came to eat lunch with me a couple of weeks ago, and I thought you were going to throw him out of the restaurant. But Leslie Harmon, when he was a freshman, came back to the band hall on Monday and started playing this Mozart piece. And I said, where in the world did you hear that? How did you learn that? And he said, I went to a movie called Amadeus this weekend, and that's what we're playing. And I said, did you get your music or something? He says, no, I just heard it. And I went, oh my goodness. Well, now, Leslie Harmon has 2 Grammys. He works with Beyonce, whoever that is. And Justin Timberlake, whoever, I do know who that is. And he is considered to be very successful. And there's many, many more from Crain like that. I remember getting on my bus at the Tournament of Roses and looking down the bus row, and I said, I can't see the back of the buses. Where is this another group? He said, no, all 35 buses of these are yours. And I said, you're kidding. And he said, nope. So, turning the roses, we had 1,200 people there from Coppell. Unbelievable. And that trip that we took to Europe and Ireland and all that stuff a few years ago, oh my goodness. I swear to God I'd never do that again. We had, if you count a plane from here to Chicago is one flight, Chicago to Heathrow is another flight, we had 76 different flights. And with 76 different flights, you're going to have something go wrong. So, one of my chaperones calls me on my phone. I had 2 worldwide phones. I was already on the plane. He said, I cannot get on the plane because it's already full. And I said, well, can you take the next one? He says, I can, but I have all the passports. And they're going, of his group, and they're going straight to Heathrow. And I said, can't they just let you on, do the passports, pass them out? And he said, no, stewardess would let him. And I said, this is too much. So I called up American Airlines, and I said, go to my account. This is a true story. Go to my account. I have this problem. I will cancel this account from now on if this problem is not taken care of in the next few minutes. we're talking about multi-million-dollar account. And sure enough, somebody was kicked off the plane. But I must say, I wish the band directors in the state of Texas, even though I've had hard work and stress and all that stuff, I wish they could have been in my shoes. To work with so many great students, great parents, great administrators, I think that they would have such an unbelievable memory of teaching. Unfortunately, it's not like that everywhere. Unfortunately, it's not like so many great parents and students and administrators. You have something neat here in Coppell and in Crain. I hope that you will keep and work to keep it going. There will be a transition coming up, I know, but I know that you're strong enough to make it through it. It is the hardest thing that I've ever had to do is to make a transition myself of thinking about band 99% of the day to thinking about it none, which I haven't got to yet, but I'll have to very soon. It's just the way things are working right now in my life. I thank you all for being here, which I cannot believe this many people showed up. I'm really, after I saw Mr. Ashbrook dressed like that, and who was it? Gerald Baggett sent me an email from Europe saying congratulations. And I said, what? And he said, we won't be able to be there Monday. And I'm supposed to be in Austin on 2 weeks from Monday, and I thought, maybe he's talking about that, I don't know. But anyway, and so when I saw Mr. Ashbrook dressed in nice clothes, instead of what he normally wears, I started putting 2 and 2 together and said, okay, this must be something neat. And I went and changed my pants. That's all. Again, I thank you all for being here. May God bless this program. God bless each and every one of you in your lives. Thank you.
And now, for the reason that we got to meet here today. I would like to introduce two gentlemen who will lead today's induction ceremony. Mr. Ben Gollehon is chairman of the Hall of Fame Committee, and Mr. Scott Coulson is past president of Alpha Chapter of Phi Beta Mu. Mr. Gollehon.
I serve on a committee with 9 other people, and we research band directors for possible induction into the Hall of Fame, and we spend a lot of time finding the very best teachers to represent the Hall of Fame as we can. I'd like to introduce the members of the committee if I could. We had some weather problems and some sickness problems, and just wait till I get a hold of Gerald Babbitt. Anyway, members of the committee, if you would stand if you're here. Gerald Babbitt, there in Switzerland. Richard Crain, Billy Harrell, David Lambert, Barbara Lambert, Don Lawler is here, Don. Charles Nail, Gary Wells is here, and myself. Bill Woods also. We have a lot of sickness, and Bill Woods just had a hip replacement, and so there's a lot of reasons that the whole committee couldn't be here. They all called and they asked me to tell you that they wish they could have been here and to congratulate you after the fact, I guess you'd say. No, I would like to introduce Scott Coulson, who's the past president of Alpha Chapter, who is going to tell us some more about Scott, and then we'll have a Q&A.
Good morning. I'd ask Scott's family to come on over. We'll join in. Before I present Scott's bio, I have a few personal comments. Back in the 90s, when Coppell High School was slumming it down in Class 4A, I had the pleasure of meeting Scott Mason. In those days, the Coppell High School and the Cookie High School bands were fierce competitors. Our schools played each other in football, so we competed against each other to see who would win halftime every game. We would even have stand-tune battles in the fourth quarter to see who played the coolest stand-tunes. We competed against each other annually at area and state marching contests and area and state honor band competitions as well. We would invariably finish first and second, usually flip-flopping results from competition to competition. Those were such fun times. Throughout those years, our relationship became very collegial and one of mutual respect. That mutual respect eventually turned into friendship. This is what's so great about our profession. We can compete at the highest levels, but still keep our perspective and support and root for each other at the same time. I am proud to call Scott Mason my friend. Samuel Scott Mason was born on August 16, 1956, to Eldon and Lockie Mason. He is the son of farmers. Scott has one brother, Wayne Mason. The family lived in Center, Texas, and it was at Center Middle School that Scott began playing the trombone. During his time at Center High School, Scott was not only involved in band activities, he served as editor of the yearbook and was president of the Science Club as well. He also earned a spot in the Texas Music Educators All-State Band. After high school, Scott attended Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches, where he earned a Bachelor of Music degree. During his time at SFA, Scott served as president of Kappa Kappa Psi National Honorary Band Fraternity. He also served as president of the Fine Arts Department Student Leadership Team. After graduating with honors, Scott was awarded a graduate assistantship and served as graduate assistant to Mel Montgomery. During this time, he assisted with the marching band, was in charge of all affiliate groups, and conducted the concert band. Quoting Mr. Montgomery, Scott did an excellent job with this position. Upon graduation in 1980 with a Master of Music degree from SFA, Scott accepted the band director position at Snyder Junior High in Snyder, Texas. He spent 3 years in Snyder and began his long streak of sweepstakes awards with this West Texas band. In 1983, Scott made the move to Crain, Texas, where he served as director of bands from 1983 to 1991. He developed an exemplary program that included both individual and ensemble accomplishments that put the Crain band on the UIL and TMEA maps. This town, with a population of only 3,100, suddenly had numerous students receiving college music scholarships that allowed them to attend college. The students earned hundreds of spots in all region bands, advanced to state solo ensemble, and with 22 being selected as outstanding soloists at the state contest, and several students earned spots in the TMEA 5A All-State Band. The Crain High School Band certainly drew attention to the small town and its dynamic young teacher. They consistently placed in the finals at the 3A State Marching Contest and were awarded the championship in the 1989-90 school year. On the concert stage, the Crain High School Band was just as accomplished. They were named State Wind Ensemble Contest winners 3 consecutive years, beginning in 1987, and always finished in the top 5 of the TMEA 3A Honor Band competition. In 1991, the Crain High School Band was named the 3A Honor Band for the state of Texas. In the fall of 1991, Scott began his tenure at the Coppell High School, not only as the band director, but also as the CISD Director of Instrumental Music. His legacy of developing outstanding individual players, marching and concert bands, continues to this day. Coppell band students have earned numerous individual honors, averaging over 130 students advancing to state solo ensemble, averaging over 40 of those that earned a first division, and averaging over 5 of those students being selected as outstanding soloists at the state level. Over 250 students have earned all-state honors, and countless students have been awarded college scholarships in both music education and performance. Just as he was able to do in Crain, Scott has led the Coppell High School Band to heights that are seldom reached by any band program. The marching band is consistently in the top 5 at UIL State Marching Contest and won the 4A State Marching Contest in the 1999-2000 school year. The same holds true for the concert bands, and the first band consistently finished in the top of the TMEA Honor Band process and won the 4A Honor Band title in 1998. These honors only scratch the surface of all the accomplishments of this outstanding band program. This band has traveled the world, literally. The places they have performed include Dublin, Ireland, London, England, and stateside, California, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. The Coppell Band Program has been named the #1 best overall band program in the nation by a national music study group. Those that know Scott well and have the privilege of working with him have seen what a huge impact he has had on his students, teachers, parents, and the community in both Crain and Coppell. He works to positively shape and guide the individual student to become the best musician they can possibly be and to develop a lifelong love of music. In conclusion, allow me to quote a co-worker who wrote these words about Scott. His students are his life, and he devotes 100% effort to them at all times, at all costs. With all the competitions and successes his groups have enjoyed, I have never heard him say one word about winning a contest or a competition. And finally, in quoting the man himself, he has clearly conducted himself in his career just as he has asked his students to do. Just do your very best and be proud of what you did. Scott has 2 daughters, Lauren Williamson and Samantha Elliott. Samantha and her husband John live out of state, and Lauren and her husband John have 3 children, Jack, June, and Samuel Williamson, and they are here today to help us celebrate the achievements of their grandfather. Ladies and gentlemen, Samuel Scott Mason.